Well, from one cool match to another, Marty, Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels, WrestleMania. You were the third man in the ring for that. Can you take us in to what it was like having the best view in the house for that match?
Again, me and Shawn were writing at the time, and he had been talking about, hanging it up, and he ultimately did in 26. But he and I had talked about it, and I said, hey man, I said I'd really love to have one of your matches one day. I said, and the time's getting shorter. And he says, well, let's talk about it. Let's see what we can do. I was, all right, cool. And WrestleMania was probably 4 months, 6 months away, and we traveled, and I had all his matches at live events and stuff like that, and I was always in the ring with him, and so I knew Shawn. And but again, the thing that I'll tell people is that Shawn Michaels live event, Shawn Michaels versus pay-per-view, Shawn Michaels versus WrestleMania are three completely different individuals, because he gives you a Shawn Mike, or he did give you a Shawn Michaels at the live events and then the pay-per-views. But when it was WrestleMania, it was like no other, like no other. And I have a cool story with regards to that. So they gave the referee assignments, and Charles Robinson originally had that match. And I went, oh, okay, well, maybe next year. So Shawn was in Gorilla. We were in San Antonio at Raw, and I saw Shawn, and I said, hey, man, I said, maybe next year. I said, I don't have your match for Mania. You don't? I said, no. Okay. And I left it at that. And next day, it's SmackDown. We were in Corpus Christi. And he goes, hey, I talked to the office. You got my match at Mania. What? Yeah, I changed it. Oh, okay. So I just left it at that. So, you know, we're doing everything, getting ready for WrestleMania and stuff. And we walked through the match. We got there on Thursday, and it was myself, Shawn, Taker, Pat Patterson, and Michael Hayes, who were there. It was us in a circle, and you know, seeing them go like, well, what do you want to do? What do you got? What do you think? And it was like, wow. And originally, we only had 15 minutes, and we were on third. We were on third,
Oh,
and when Taker and Shawn heard that, they were like, especially Taker. Taker was like, "This is not going to fly." Mm-mm. And Michael Hayes was like, "Oh, I'll go talk to Vince. I'll get it changed. Don't worry, do. So we got it changed, and again, we weren't the main event. We should have been the main event, but we weren't. But we ended up being the main event anyways.
yeah.
But so we were putting the match together and stuff, and it was surreal. And that dive that happened where Taker got concussed, broke his collarbone, broke his ring finger. That dive was originally supposed to be on me. Uh,
Jeez, on
but
you.
yeah, but Vince vetoed that. Vince didn't want to take me out. So because they had a bump scheduled for Randy and Hunter for the title. So they, uh, they didn't want to do that. So, but again, Shawn was all about giving me my WrestleMania moment. So that's why when Vince vetoed that, they said, okay. And again, it wasn't until the day of WrestleMania, about 2 hours before the show, when we finally had Snuka as the camera guy. And there's a story to that too. So we uh, we talked about the match, and Shawn goes, well, look, before he does a dive, I'll throw you into the barricade, and then I'll see Taker coming, and then I'll get the camera guy and I'll push him in, and away we go. And on paper it sounded amazing. Yeah, this is
Mhm.
going to work, and it was supposed to work. But again, I think with that happening, it really added to the drama of the match, because he was shoot hurt. He was shoot out of it. And
Right.
I knew something was wrong, because as I'm down selling, to hear 74,000 people, and then to hear them go,
Right.
It gave me goosebumps. I got goosebumps right now. It was such a surreal moment to have 74,000 people go from here to here, and you go, something's wrong, something's up. So I'm peeking, trying to see, and I see everybody on the floor, and I see everybody out, and I go, what just happened? Because I didn't see the dive. I didn't see what happened until later. I heard it. I heard the crack and everything, but I didn't. So I was like, uh-oh. So I start selling up. And again, I should have stayed down a little bit longer, but I said, I need to get into the ring and see what's going on. And if I'm going too long, guys, tell me to shut up. Uh,
No, you're fine.
Oh
but
You're
no,
fine.
not at all. I'm hooked.
so I start selling up, and Shawn comes out to get me. And he's like, sell more, sell more. And I'm going like, oh, what's wrong with Taker? And he looked over, he goes, I don't know. So we start going in, and that's when he starts dragging me in. And when he drags me into the corner and he starts talking to me, he goes, we don't know what's wrong. He's like, take your time counting. Let's do this. He goes, we don't know where he's at. Okay, take your time. Cool. All right.
Okay.
So when I fell to my butt and I counted, Shawn's like, no, 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 get up, get up. So that's when he goes and he grabs me, picks me up. And again, I'm selling the whole time because he had just tossed me into the barricade. And again, I didn't nip up or go, hey, I was selling the whole time. So Shawn, and again, when they show Shawn, he starts doing this and the crowd starts coming. And again, Taker and I didn't make eye contact until 9. He was out, man. And again, what I did, and I've explained this before, is that I elongated my counts. If you go back and you look at that, I was taking my time. I was selling because I was hurt. And I
Right.
wasn't doing a normal one. I was one. I was doing that. And then I'd kind of give it a beat, give it a 1,000, 2, 1,000, 2. You see how I added the time right there?
Yeah.
I stretched it out, and
Yes.
my counts were like that. Instead of them being 1, 2, it was like 1, and I'd kind of sell it and kind of give a 1,002, and then I'd come up again, and right there is 5 seconds, right there, and then I'd give it. So I elongated that, and when I did that, the crowd started coming with me. I got
Yep.
the crowd. And
Absolutely.
that's what we wanted to do. And to have 74,000 people counting with you is a surreal.
Oh my gosh, I can not imagine
So
that.
so I'm counting it, and again, I didn't see Taker until 9. We made eye contact, and boom, he rolls in, and it was just autopilot from then, and we just started rolling, man, and we went on to create magic. So yeah, it was pretty intense. I will say this: at the time, my biggest moment, and something that I went, you know what, it was all worth it. Remember when Shawn did the skin the cat and Taker, tombstone?
Yes.
That false finish right there was the biggest and best false finish that I've ever had in my career.
That
Because
is awesome.
that right there was like everything that I had ever worked for, being screwed over with pay, awful promoters, whatever, traveling, that right there, to have 74,000 people hooked. And when he kicked out, nobody knew. Nobody
Ah.
knew. You know, and it
Oh,
was one of those moments, that I'll never forget that. So
yep.
it was pretty
Wow.
amazing. So, but real quick, going back
Yes.
to my Shawn Michaels live event, Shawn Michaels pay-per-view, Shawn Michaels WrestleMania. So Shawn, for the finish, was going to do the moonsault, which he did. During rehearsals, Shawn was missing it. And he was going off to the left, he was going off to the right, he was coming short. We put in crash pads, and he wasn't hitting the crash pads. So it was like, wow, man. He's like, you know what? Plan B. He goes, if I come up short or I miss it, I'll just land on my feet, Taker will grab me, then he'll put me up, and then we'll go from there. And I went, okay, cool. So as we're in Gorilla,
Mhm.
we're there. and Shawn's putting on the white gloves and stuff, you know, because how he came down and stuff, which was amazing. So he's putting on the gloves and stuff, and we're looking at the packages, and Shawn starts putting on the white Taker hat, and I'm standing next to him, and I said, Shawn, I said, Plan B, and he does this, he does it with the hat. He goes, he adjusts the hat, and he looks up and he goes, we ain't gonna need a Plan B. And right there, I knew that Mr. WrestleMania was in the house, and it was on.
You knew who you were getting. That is so cool.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
So that was pretty surreal, and it was like my confidence level went from like here to here, and I was like, ooh.
Yeah. At that point, I feel like you already knew that was going to be the main event, whether it was on paper or not. That was the main event of the night.
Yeah, and walking through that match and seeing what we were going to do, and and I knew that Shawn and Taker had something to prove because being told that we're third and we weren't in the main event. Anything with Taker and Shawn was main event. But again, I understood the circumstance because Hunter was the WWE champion. It was the whole Orton versus the McMahon stuff. So I get that. But again, here's a cool story too, because after the match, we're in the medics, and Taker's getting looked at and stuff, and we're in there, and Hunter comes walking in, and he has the WWE title, and he throws it down, and he looks at Taker and everybody. He goes, "How in the F am I going to follow that?" I don't know, man. So,
that's awesome.
The next day at TV, we were in Austin. Taker comes walking in. He's hurt and stuff. And for some reason, and this is just maybe the mark in me or whatever, but again, we're all marks. So something just told me to have Taker sign my jersey. And he's walking in, and I said, "How you doing, Mark? Everything good?" He goes, "Yeah, kid, just can't move." He shows me his finger and stuff. And I said, I said, "I hate to bother you, man." I said, "But would you sign my referee jersey from last night?" He goes, yeah, if I can. And I was like, okay. So he signed it. And something just told me to get it signed. I've never had Shawn sign it, even though I could have 1,000 times. Shawn hasn't signed it yet. But I got Taker to sign it that day. And for some reason, something forward thinking told me to get my shoes, my pants, the jersey and everything, and just put them away and use something else. And to this day, I still have the shoes and the jersey and that just put away. And one of these days when I get my new house here in Tennessee, I'm going to put it up in a shadow board and put it up with the front page of the Houston Chronicle that we were on. So, and along with my Slammy. So,
yes.
so yeah, I had him sign it, but it was funny because I told Taker when he was signing it, I said, "You know what, Mark, I'd have caught you." And he goes, "I know you would have."
Oh.
See, that's nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, we're in Austin, Texas, and we're rewatching WrestleMania, and Cena's sitting there, and Cena turns to me and he goes, "Damn you guys, damn you guys." I go, "What happened?" Because remember, it was a three-way. It was Edge, Big Show, and Cena. So when Shawn skinned the cat, Taker, boom, Cena, Big Show, and Edge were up in Gorilla, and once Taker hit him, they were high-fiving. "Okay, man, we'll see you out there, man. Good luck." And when Shawn kicked out, Cena said that they just went, "Damn." They all left Gorilla, man. And Cena goes, "We had to follow that."
Yeah, that's funny.
Rewind, recap, relive. Woo! That's what the world is watching.